Yeah, yeah, I did it, so it's at the end.
We have stuff.
We can break it down, go from there, but we're going
You're
back.
good now?
We're good there, okay. Okay, it is now just a little bit after 6 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the November 12th council meeting. Can we all raise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Can we please take your seats, make sure your phones are off. Oh, thank you, Ryan. First order of business is public comment. First person is Jessica Leader. If you please stand up, state your name and your address, please.
Jessica Letterer.
Letter.
12630 North First Street.
Okay.
Here is some papers if you want. I just wanted to share an experience that our family had in hopes that it wouldn't happen to anyone else because everyone I talked to knew nothing about it. So on September 21st, I called my son when I was leaving church at 12:39. And at about 12:41, we heard police sirens and he was getting pulled over. So Corporal Tucker pulled him over. She comes up to the car and says, I've been following you since Greenwood. We're in Bridgeville now. You're on your phone, license and registrations. He gives it to her. He was scared first time ever being pulled over. Gave her the wrong registration. Gave her the wrong insurance. It was like 5 years old from Maryland. So she comes back, he's a minor, has to go to court, gave him a ticket for speeding, not having his registration, not having his insurance, and cell phone use. But it was a charge that we'd never seen before. It was permit holder, operator of a motor vehicle on a cellular device. So, ended up meeting up with my son. That's where I saw what the ticket was, and I was trying to figure out, again, 17-year-old boy, mom, oldest of 8. So I was trying to figure out all of the details so that we could sit down and have a family discussion because I have 3 more drivers in the next couple of years and wanted to make sure we were doing what we needed to do. So I went, the ticket said Rock Road, Sussex County, so I went to just go see because I had an idea of where that was and see kind of where that speed limit sign was. Corporal Tucker was sitting there. She drove off. Not a problem again. Just wanted to see the proximity of where the offense occurred as to where like the speed limit sign was. Looked, just kind of took some pictures so that way when I sat down with them we could kind of go over everything. Went home, looked at the license, saw that it was a LiDAR, it gave you the distance, so I was like, okay, awesome. I grabbed my husband's little rolly thing, goes out 330 feet, he was clocked 371.8 feet away from where she was. So I wanted to see if it was him going, like leaving town or if he was the opposite direction. So I drove back out there to kind of see where that speeding incident occurred. Again, she was sitting there, not a big deal. She drove away. My daughter and I parked. I wheeled it one way. There's a huge bush from where they usually sit right there on 13. So that could not have been the direction that she clocked him on that LiDAR, just because of the interference, but wheeled it out. Was on my way back in. Corporal Tucker pulls in, parks, gets out. My daughter looked a little nervous, so I'm wheeling it back in. She comes up and she's asked me if I needed anything, and I just said, nope, you want my son a ticket? Just trying to gather some information, teachable moment. To which she responded she wasn't going to get screamed at, so she saw me and she left, and so I said I would never. And so she just kept saying she did everything by the book, and showed me her LiDAR detector, explained things that happened, not a problem.
You got about 1 more minute.
Okay, perfect. Had a quick conversation about some things, asked her about that charge specifically. She said they could be on Bluetooth, just not on handheld. And then she made a comment about how obviously she knew that was my son, but that's not why he pulled her over. Raised some red flags, because why are we saying we weren't going to get yelled at? You knew who he was, and that's not why he wrote a ticket. So I'd asked to speak to her immediate supervisor, Lieutenant Thomas. Tried to get in touch with him. Chief called. I explained, just wanted to get some clarification on a situation. Finally, on That was Monday. Finally, on Friday, I came back in, was told they didn't know if he was here. He ended up calling me, leaving me a message saying he was not to speak to me, that per chief, everything had to go through him regarding this. Ended up going to court, and long story short, that last charge of operating a motor vehicle on a cellular device on a learner's permit carries a 1-month suspension per the DMV. So it wasn't something my lawyer or the traffic judge had ever seen before. In speaking to friends, they didn't know they weren't even allowed on Bluetooth, so just kind of wanted to come, share what happened, and put it out there.
Okay.
So I thought I
What
got
was
3
it,
minutes.
what was that charge? Yeah, it was that was actually 4 minutes.
Oh, the charge was learner permit, use of motor vehicle while I think on a cellular device.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
here is quick notes for everything in case you guys want to look into anything.
Okay.
That was it.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Next, we have Michael Phillips.
Yeah, Michael Phillips, I'm on 3 East Minor. I have, as you all know, I'm the chair for planning and zoning, and I have some serious issues with what's been going on in this office. There's documentation missing that I've requested for months. I have not seen a FEMA certification for our acting manager. Without that, we do not receive any federal funding if we have a weather situation. I have been asking for an update from our attorney, Mr. Mandalis. And I have a serious concern about what has happened this week. I've been getting complaints repeatedly. A landowner who is looking to develop was told they don't get anything unless they give us something. No application has been submitted to the town. That is for planning review and negotiation. It is not management's position. It is also blatantly blackmail. I still also have not received an answer as to which council member sent the code enforcement over to my house, which again, last time I stood up, is not the councilman's purview. Only the town manager can send code enforcement.
Thank you, Michael. That is all we have for the public comment section. We will now move on to the next section is a public hearing. This is a petition to annex the property identified as Sussex County tax map, parcel number 530-10.00-39.00 into the town of Greenwood and zone the property R3. It also might be a possible vote to resolution to annex property identified as Sussex County map, same thing. As we discussed before, this is the smoker, so I'll open the floor for discussion.
Well,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
this is time for public hearing. As part of the annexation process,
Here from the public.
the council is to hold a public hearing. The council entered a resolution back in August and then updated it, setting forth the hearing for this evening. The property the future land use plan for the property was changed from highway commercial to RPC. Property, as I understand, is 21.9 acres. The town council entered a resolution to start the annexation proceedings. Plans and services was sent to the Office of State Planning Coordination. They sent a response yesterday that it has the plan meets all code requirements from a state perspective, and they had no additional comments other than if it was approved that they'd be notified of that, as we would be required to do that. And this is now the time for the public to have a chance to speak before council about that proposed annexation. Council does not have to vote on, after the public hearing is over, you do not have to vote on the final resolution this evening. You could table it for another night, or you could vote on it this evening. But I know that, yeah, this is the time set aside for public comment on that specific issue only as far as the annexation.
Anybody here want to speak about that? Sounds like a no, okay. I'll leave it to the council if you want to decide to vote on it and table it.
Say you go ahead and proceed, move forward with it.
Okay.
Second.
Wait a minute. You want to make a motion?
The motion, I make a motion that we go ahead and adopt the annex resolution.
If I may, Mr. Moran, we do have the resolution 2025-09. We have significant whereas clauses in there, and I can go through them rather quickly. If you would appreciate that.
Yes, please.
So the final resolution annexing certain piece of real estate parcel into the corporate limits of the town of Greenwood. Whereas pursuant to its charter, the town council of Greenwood initiated annexation proceedings pursuant to section 3 of the charter of the town of Greenwood and notified property owners and residents of the town and of the territory to be annexed that the town proposes to annex such territory which adjoins the corporate limits of the town of Greenwood. Whereas pursuant to its charter, a public hearing on the subject of the proposed annexation and zoning of certain real estate was held on the 12th day of November 2025 at Town Hall of the town of Greenwood. Whereas the annexed territory consists of 21.9 acres more or less located adjacent to Beach Highway. Whereas Sussex County identifies the annexed territory as tax map parcel number 530-10.00-39.00 and deed recorded of the recorder of deeds in for Sussex County and deed book 4121 at page 13 to David L. Smoker and Lauren E. Smoker, collectively Smoker. And whereas a plot of the annexed territory is attached here to as Exhibit A, and whereas the zoning district for the annexed territory is R3 high density residential, which is consistent with the town's approved comprehensive plan. And whereas with this annexation, the town of Greenwood shall not be obligated to provide municipal services or to extend municipal facilities or improvements unless and until the town council, in the sole exercise of its reasonable discretion, determines as appropriate for the town to do so, or the applicant binds itself to any of the following as required by the town. 1, to pay in full all costs and expenses with reasonable surety accepted to the town to provide municipal services. And 2, to extend or construct municipal facilities and improvements to serve such lands in strict accordance with all governing federal, state, and town regulations and standards. Now therefore be it resolved by the town council of the town of Greenwood that the adoption of this resolution by the town council of the town of Greenwood at a duly noticed meeting convened at which quorum is present on this 12th day of November 2025 constitutes the final resolution of annexation as outlined in the town charter. And the town council hereby resolves as follows. The annexed territory is now hereby within the limits of the town of Greenwood. The annexed territory is hereby zoned R3 high density residential. The town of Greenwood shall not be obligated to provide municipal services or extend municipal facilities or improvements unless and until council in its sole discretion, sole exercise of its reasonable discretion determines as appropriate for the town to do so, or the applicant binds himself to any of the following as required by the town. 1, to pay in full all costs and expenses with reasonable surety accepted to the town to provide municipal services, and 2, to extend or construct the municipal facilities and improvements to serve such lands in strict accordance with all governing federal, state, and town regulations and standards. And Mr. Moran, I think you're making a motion to adopt that resolution.
Correct.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Vote. So Mr. Nelson seconds that. We'll go for a vote. Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Moran, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
All in favor shall pass. Next, we will now move on to the Board of Appeals. Should we wait till 6:30?
Yeah, it's only 6:17, we put on there for 6:30. What I would suggest is that, the council move on to the approval of minutes and
Okay.
other items until we get to 6:30,
Perfect,
which
yeah.
time we can come back to that.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, we'll go back to that. First, we're gonna do the approval of minutes. Now, first is the October 22nd, 2025 Town Council meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the October 22, 2025 town council meeting minutes.
Second.
Do I have any amendments or adjustments to that motion? No. We will now put it up for vote. Mr. Moran, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Next will be the October 29th, 2025, the budget workshop minutes. Open the floor.
Make a motion, we approve the October 29th, 2025 budget workshop minutes.
We have a motion from approval of Mr. Moran. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Mr. Donovan seconds that motion. Is there any amendments or adjustments that we need to make to that motion? I'll now put the motion up for vote. Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Moran, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
Yes.
All in favor, passes. Next, we'll move on to our police report. Chief?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. You have my written report. You've had time to look over it. If you have any questions, I can answer this now. We have nothing verbally to report.
I'll now open that up to the floor for discussion. Does anybody have any?
Chief, was the truck completed as far as outfitted for emergency lighting?
The estimate's been completed. We've got the money and the funding is now approved. We're just waiting for the product to come in to get it outfitted.
Has it been used lately? Has it been out and about?
It's been driven, but not for patrol procedures, no. It's not outfitted for patrol procedures yet.
Was it used during the trunk or treat for the community outing and like sitting out here and just with candy in it for people to see it and they won't buy it?
No, we utilize a marked patrol vehicle for that. At this point, it's just a black pickup truck. So, as soon as it's outfitted, it'll be utilized.
Any more discussion? Next part of the agenda is our town manager report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have my written report. If you have any questions, you have to answer them. I don't have any additions.
One question, Brian, and the zoning ordinance was done without following the proper steps. Which particular steps? Do you know?
There were no public hearings.
Okay,
This is the zoning order on the highway.
all right.
So that has to now all be redone, correct?
Correct.
Okay, let's go back to planning and zoning and then come back to council.
If
Okay.
if council would like me to draft an ordinance to that effect, I certainly can do that. I'm not sure there was a formal ordinance prepared on it, which was part of the issue that came up when looking at that issue, which was brought to my attention. Not something I was involved with when it was passed last December, I think. So if council would like me to work on preparing a formal ordinance for that for introduction, I'm sure we'll do that.
We have to start the whole process pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah, it basically be drafting ordinance introduction, and then it would go to the planning commission, which they had hearing on it. They had voted on last year, but I don't think they had a public hearing on it. They could then issue their recommendation, the council could hold its public hearing.
Yeah, none of that was done. Okay.
But we don't have any record of it.
Right.
I mean, I haven't seen it.
Okay. Open for discussion, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Nelson for the report.
I make a motion that we have Mr. Sharp draft up the amendment for the highway commercial.
That motion is by Mr. Donovan. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Donovan seconds. Does anyone want to make an amendment or adjustment to that motion? Sounds good. No. I'll take
If I
that.
may, I have a question on that. I have not looked at it in last few days at least. My understanding was that it would be to take what was done previously and incorporate that into it, though my recollection was that there were some parts of that that were perhaps a bit confusing or could be improved upon. Do you want me to try to look at that and see if there's ways to improve that
Yes.
as part of that motion, or simply just doing an ordinance based upon what had previously been presented?
Jamie, I think clarification is wise, but also, I'm trying to come up with a way to, I'm trying to not ramble for like 5 minutes on the point is in my head. So, I kind of understand, right now there is no definition, at least under the current zoning ordinances.
There's a definition section.
There is, but it's not real clear. And I think that part of me is almost, I don't know, are we putting the cart before the horse? Like, I wanna get the clarification, you know, I don't know. Like, what I was thinking you were gonna do was just draft exactly what you just said, that, hey, here's what happened, here's the ordinance, and then go from there.
I can do that too. I mean, either way is fine with me, or both ways, if you want me to compare two different ones to look at. I'm fine either way. I know Mr. Donovan made the motion, so,
And I agree it should be corrected, it's just in what direction.
yes.
So we're gonna have to amend the motion?
You have to, yep.
What do you want, both?
Do you want both or you want one?
Council, what do you
Right
want?
now, it's just, the motion as currently stands is just redoing the current ordinance as is.
So I want, what's best, I don't wanna get into this again. I want whatever he feels is necessary, he's our solicitor. So what he feels necessary to keep us from having an issue.
So the new motion that you're stating now is for him to draft it and revise it as he sees fit and needed?
Yes. So if somebody, Dan, if you'll rescind your second, I'll change my motion.
We just amended it, okay.
I rescind my motion. So,
Your second.
yeah, my second, sorry.
So I make a motion that we have Mr. Sharp address the needs that we have for this particular ordinance, so we don't have any further issues with it.
That's the first. Do I have a
And
second?
then for Mr. Sharp to use his discretion, because he is our legal counsel.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
The second by Mr. Nelson.
Is that correct, Jim?
That's fine with me, Mr.
So do we still have any more amendments or adjustments that anybody feels like they need to say? No? Okay. Take it up for vote. Mr. Moran, how do you vote on this?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
And I'll try to get that to you as soon as possible.
Okay.
so that it was-
Get that process rolling. Okay. That is all for the town manager's report. We'll move to old business. We have none. Next, we'll move on to new business. It's the adoption of FY fiscal year 2026 budget. I'll open the floor for discussion.
No, I have some thoughts.
I'm trying to find where I was looking. Under the computer purchase 5,000, is that replacing all of them?
No, that is replacing a laptop and a desktop. There, our IT company has recommended 2 desktop replacements, but to save the budget, I only put in 1 desktop for this year, and we can put in the second one for next year.
Chief, it's got here equipment PD with grants for 40,000. What are we gonna use that for?
What is it, sir?
It says equipment PD and then it has grants and then it's listed for 40,000.
I would assume that would be our Sussex County grant. Without seeing the paperwork, I don't have a copy.
Sussex County.
So that would be our Sussex County grant, sir.
One thing with, traffic safety, is that shouldn't really be on the budget. That's a surplus that you can't really account, you can't project it. Like you simply can't. So it's wise not to have it as a line item. It's not the only reason, but it's a major reason. You cannot predict that. So if it's like the realty transfer tax, we can only use it for a few things. Yeah, you can set your budget on it or payroll, but it's highly advised not to do that because you simply don't know how many houses are gonna sell. Like those transfer tax, you just can't rely on them being consistent. I know Delaware is doing very well in the housing market, but that sometimes comes to an end. It can be in the budget, but as a surplus is how I would advise putting it. So you track it, you account for it, you just don't do that. Or do not count it as like income. I know it might not be popular to pull that out, but again, it'd be very wise if we did.
So do you have a motion for that budget line?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to remove it as it's stated, and it'll come back in as a surplus on the police budget. Or counted as surplus as it comes in.
Do you have a second with that?
So isn't that gonna throw your budget off 120,000?
Yes, Donnie,
Where are you gonna get the 120,000 from?
I don't know, but you don't want that there.
It's always been there.
Mike, it hasn't always been there. Back in the day, we counted it as surplus. The thing
Since I've
is,
been at the table, it's always been on there.
I don't remember it being like this. I mean, yeah.
I mean,
there
they
was-
projected a number, whether they reached it or not.
This is actually less than what was projected for the current budget year.
Like I said, it's the projection of, you can't,
Right.
it's something that can't be relied on. I mean, how about this? All right, good challenge, Donnie, let's just say the police department, Corporal Tucker moves on, Lieutenant Thomas moves on, and there's only the chief. Like, it's like the transfer, you don't set certain budgetary things on it because it's not reliable.
And I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is where you gonna get $120,000 from?
Well, if they don't
That's just
hit the
what I'm saying.
120,
I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I'm just trying to figure out where you're gonna get $120,000 to cover removing that from the budget. That's my only question. Which was because the tax, you're taxing what now? You're gonna greatly increase the taxes.
no, I know, I understand the issue, I'm just, like I said, this is opening the door for problems. Like, if they don't hit the number, we're still gonna have the same budgetary issue. That's why, again, why it shouldn't sit there the way that it has. And I don't have years prior to compare, but, you know, hey, obviously, you know, I'm just stating what I think should happen.
I can tell you, Dan, last year's chief, before Chief Walton showed up, they projected 170,000 and did not even come close. Did not come close, so this is a more of a realistic number for the 3 outstanding officers that we do have, as busy as they are. If they hit it, great. If they don't, then we have to make adjustments.
And understood, again, though, I just think it's something that we should not have on there, like, look, we collect fines in my day job, and we get asked, what's projected for the year, we have no idea. I have no idea how much an employer is gonna violate any particular law, so we don't set anything, and most of my office doesn't work where some penalties do come to the office for enforcement purposes, but there is no projection on them, simply because there's just no way to do it. It's, again, I'm trying to use the transfer tax as a comparison, but there's also some liability that can open up for a police department.
Well,
That's
That
what
they're setting this.
if I could make a quick statement, me as the chief of police, I would not give you a projected number on what my fines would be from my department, I wouldn't do it. Because you're basically painting me into a window to have to tell you this is the amount of money my department's going to make. I can't do that. I can't provide you that number. Chiefs in the past have done it, that's on them. My department, my standing, we won't do that. So if the town manager gives you a projection, that's coming from the town side, not from the chief of police or the police department. Now, the town manager can run previous actual numbers of total fines or total summaries that the department has earned and give you a projected number from that, but I can't provide you with a projected number for police fines. That would be highly unethical.
Yeah, I can completely see where that comes from.
And this was a 5-year average.
This is over the 5 years, this is the average of
Yes.
that.
And if you'd like, we can schedule another workshop to discuss this.
So I make a motion, we have another workshop, because somebody's gonna have to figure out where he's gonna come up with $120,000.
Second.
So the motion versus by Mr. Donovan for another workshop. The second by Mr. Nelson. Do I have any adjustments or amendments to that motion? No? All right, let's take a vote on it and we'll figure out a date. Well, let's figure out the date first.
What's the charter say that this budget has to be in effect? Oh, it has to be in effect.
So we have to have a draft by a certain time, doesn't it?
The draft, I believe, is 60 days for the beginning of fiscal year. I know that. I believe it has to be adopted fairly soon.
I thought it had to be adopted today,
Let's see what it says.
because in the past, we've always had it ready to go by the November meeting.
Annually, I'm reading section 28 of the town budget, annually each year, not later than 60 days prior to the beginning of the next fiscal year. Treasurer of the town of Greenwich shall prepare a rough draft of the town budget. For this rough draft, the town council shall not later than the regular meeting following the presentation of the rough draft prepared by the town budget containing the financial plan for conducting the affairs of the town for the ensuing years, adopt the budget. So I did think you're right, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, we have to adopt it now.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, it needs to be adopted by the charter.
But we can make amendments, but per charter,
You can amend your budget as you need to, as you're going on, but it has to be done tonight. So we can sit here and hash this thing out till we get to the bottom of.
but it has to be done then anyway, so we just have to deliver it.
So I know Mr.
Mr.
Donovan made a
Donovan,
motion
Yeah, would you,
and seconded. If you wish to withdraw that.
Who second?
Mr. Nelson seconded.
Withdraw your second. I'll withdraw mine.
I withdraw my second for the workshop to discuss.
I withdraw my
Police
motion
traffic.
for the workshop.
Floor is now open for a new motion.
I make a motion that we go ahead and adopt the current budget that is presented to us by the town manager. And if we need to amend it down the road, then we'll amend it as needed.
Do I have a second on that motion?
I second, because we will have to amend it.
Second by Mr. Nelson. Do I want, anybody have any adjustments or amendments to that motion they'd like to add? No? Mr. Donovan, how do you vote?
Yes,
Mr. Moran, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes.
I think before we use the council more comments. Past
Go
6:30, yep, yep. All right, it's past 6:30, so right now we're gonna go back up. We're gonna go for the Board of Appeals. This is, the Board of Appeals for the annual, the assessment of value, tax assessment of value that everybody's received from the county. This is now the public's turn to come and see if they have any appeals on the property value that has been assessed from the county itself. Is there anyone here with an appeal saying at a different number than what has been shown? Looks like a no. So we have no appeals, so there will be no votes.
But yeah, I believe the town council had already previously approved the assessment roll and list.
Yeah.
Right, Mr. Slater, I wasn't here at that meeting, but I was there.
We approved, mhm.
So, what you'll now do in your December meeting is you will look at that along with the budget and set the rate for
Tax rate.
next year.
But we're using the current rates that the values of all the properties that we have. Nothing's been amended or changed to any of those values. Any vote? That concludes that. And now we will move on to the council members' comments. Mr. Donovan, you have any comments?
no.
I guess the only thing I got a question on is the attorney fees. I know we have a lot, there's been a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
I see that under the fee schedule that she put more of a realistic number that we had on there. Where are we sitting at to date, and how many people, gentlemen at this table, have reached out to the attorney that's not been yourself or the town manager, or have you given permission for people to reach out so we're not spending all this money on top of what we got?
Well, we need to do one of those motions because Mr. Sharp, when we did the motion for, the new employment attorney, Mr. Delcalo, the motion was that I was, and myself and, the town manager.
Correct.
But that was only particularly to the employment attorney, not Mr. Sharp. So that,
There
we
was
need-
one previously made that covered that.
it was taken as, I spoke with Mr. Sharp about this, it was taken as that motion was particularly to Anthony Delcalo, but
No,
not.
the motion was particularly to Mr. Sharp. Mr. Sharp was here previously, prior to, it was because we had several people that, if you'll remember, Mr. Sharp, there were those individuals that were calling you, and then we came back and said there'll be no more, only the mayor and the town manager had that authority, because we were getting bills from people were calling you and asking you various questions, if you remember that. And then we came back and we said, no, the only two that could call was the mayor and the town manager. Because we had these numbers that were coming up, and what was it? Well, so-and-so called, and so-and-so called. Well, we can't have that, so we made a motion. But that's been a while ago.
Yeah, I've got to ask, what date, when was that, how long?
I mean, the obvious thing we gotta do is just make the new motion, because if we all start calling, there's gonna be mixed information, and if there's just two people and one dialogue, then they can transpire to all of us. Things will go a lot smoother, and will save the town and the town people a lot of money if we only have two people reach out, if they need fit, to reach out to the attorneys. Other than that, we don't need to involve the attorneys on every little thing that goes on.
I 100% agree, but I don't believe we can make a motion on that tonight, it's not on the agenda.
No, but I mean, Yeah, I know.
You know, okay, yeah, we'll, next agenda, we'll put that on there and clarify that, obviously. it's
Yeah,
not
maybe just put procedure for contact attorney.
on the next agenda.
Town solicitor or something.
We can't vote, we can't make a motion on that, because it's not on the agenda.
Maybe I'll research to find out when it was done.
And we can, yeah, if you wanna do that, Donnie, when that actually, you guys had actually set that motion into place.
And Councilman Moran, to answer your question about where we are currently, you have a profit and loss January through November 10th in your packet. And that is, as long as all of the bills are correctly entered into QuickBooks, which we still haven't reconciled everything, so I can't guarantee that they're all in there. That gives you the amount of roughly 55,000.
Yeah, that's dramatic compared to what we're, so we saved 50-some thousand, so we're ahead of the game. So that's a plus.
We're ahead of the game,
We're
yeah.
ahead of the game.
And again, these numbers, yeah. Again, these numbers, it's hard to follow any of these numbers right now.
Right, until we know exactly where we sit, but
Yep.
again, this will solve a lot of issues if we limit
Mm-hmm,
to just 2 people.
I agree. Anyone else have any comments?
Yeah, I wanna thank, the acting town manager, Rhiannon Slater, for getting together the best available numbers to be able to pass some sort of budget, so we could move into the next year, as we get everything figured out. Thank you. And to you as well, Carolyn, because I know you were digging up stuff as well.
I would like to say, I just want to let the public know that we are having our Christmas parade. It is December 12th. If anybody wants to join it, you can contact us at Greenwood Town Events email address. It's right on our website. It's the deadline, I believe, for anybody who wants to register for the event is the 28th of this month. But it will be held on Friday, the 12th, starting at 7 o'clock. Also, just so the town is aware, Market Street will be closed. It's gonna be the normal parade route as it's always been. So Market Street will be closed from about 7 to 9-ish. But anybody who wants to participate, please reach out to us and we can get that thing rolling.
Governor's Avenue as well.
Governor's Avenue, yeah, it's Governor's Avenue, a little bit of Mill Street, and then, Market Street, west and east. Mr. Donovan, you have anything to say?
No, sir, I think I said enough.
Okay, that concludes that. Next, now we will actually move on to an executive session. This executive session is for strategy sessions and advice or opinion from the attorney at law regarding pending or potential litigation to discuss personal matters in which the names, competency, and abilities of individual employees will be discussed in strategy sessions, and advice or opinions from an attorney at law regarding pending or potential litigation. 29 Delaware C code 10004 B4.
I make a motion to move into executive session.
I have a motion by Mr. Rand to move into executive session. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Donovan. Mr. Nelson, how do you vote?
Yes?
I vote yes. Mr. Mr.
Yes.
Rand, yes. Mr. Donovan,
Yes.
all in favor, we're moving to executive session at, 6:46.